Hello everyone, it's Brian here, and I hope you're ready for more Canadian music because we are forging on with part 7 of my 200 favorite Canadian songs of all time. This will be numbers 140 down to 131. Ultimately, I guess there'll be 20 parts to this countdown. And I'll just refresh your memory, or for people who are new here, I'll just tell you what parameters I set for myself when doing this. The first thing is that I'm only going to include one song per artist. If I didn't do that, you would keep seeing the same artist recurring over and over again. I thought that would be a bit boring. So just one song per artist. Now, there are examples on the list of a song from an individual who was in a band, like a solo record. So there's sometimes the band and the solo artist. That sometimes happens, but I wanted to steer clear of repetitive use of bands or singers. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that I have to own the song that I'm talking about. So it has to be on an album, an EP, a 12-inch single, a compact disc. I don't have anything on cassette that I'm mentioning, or it could be on a compilation. And I have used compilation a few times on this list. I also haven't purchased anything knowing that I wanted to make this list. It's exactly as it is when I thought about it and started making a list. I didn't realize I was missing a song and run out to buy something. I didn't do that, although I could have, but I didn't. So those are two main things. If an artist is not on this list and they're Canadian, it means a number of things. It means that I have something by them and they didn't make the top 200. It could mean that I don't like that artist, or it could be that I really like them, but I don't own the thing in question. So, to give you some examples of people who aren't on the list, as I've tried to do in other videos, for example, Big Wreck is not represented here. And another one would be Sam Roberts. Those two artists I hear on the radio every time I get in the car, it seems, on a certain radio station. I didn't include well-known band The Headstones. There's nothing here from Coney Hatch. Not that I don't necessarily like them, I just, never had any other records. A band like The Beaches is a reasonably newer band, but I don't really know enough about them. I don't own anything by them. Sum 41, Michael Bublé. So those are a few people that aren't on this list. So let's start with number 140, and it's from what I think is still possibly the best known or the most well-known reggae band from Canada, who were formed in, of all places, Kitchener, Ontario. You can check it on a map if you don't know. Messenger. So kind of interesting spelling there. And this is their debut record, Rock You High, from 1982. Originally, it was released on a small label, but this is the major label pressing from that band. They were signed to a major label. They were the first Canadian reggae band to sign a major label deal. And interestingly, they were so popular that they were the opening act for the Clash's Combat Rock Tour in North America. So they got a lot of attention. And subsequently, they relocated to Toronto, as many people did. I relocated to Toronto years ago. It's not unusual. Here's the back of this record. So 1982. So it's your classic sort of Jamaican roots reggae sound, and I'm sure you can imagine what it sounds like. It's pretty cool, chill, upbeat, kind of fun. I'm going to guess that if there's anyone in the VC that knows about this band, it will have to be Mike at MGK Boston. I guess you'll let us know. The song I'm choosing is the title track called Rock You High, which you will see listed at the top there. I can't think of another band from Kitchener. If you can, I'd be curious to know what it is. There is the lyric sheet, and here is the label, as I've mentioned on WEA. This is the repressing when they signed to WEA on this colorful WEA label. So Rock You High, that kind of cool, smooth Jamaican reggae song at number 140. Now, 139, I have chosen a band out of Montreal called Avec le soleil sortant de sa bouche, right there. And this is called Papier Pop. And it has I Love You So Much in brackets. Now, they're on the Constellation label out of Montreal, so that already tells you something. That label has a lot of post-rock and really interesting avant-garde music. This particular band, comprised of members from bands like Fly Pan Am and Set Fire to Flames, is probably in the sort of, kraut rock in a way, but maybe more like kraut funk, I've heard it described as. Here's the back of this record, by the way. psych pop in a way, post-punk possibly, maybe generally post-rock. It's hard to describe what this band is all about. I don't believe they make any more music. This is the second record they released in 20, I think it was the second one in 20, was that the second one? It might have been the first one, 2017. So I've got that confused, I'm not sure, but 2017. And on this record, I have chosen, it's really two songs that are known as Trans Pop Express. Comes in at 9 minutes and 35 seconds. It's got a kind of a psychedelic feeling with electronic music. It's really difficult to describe, so I won't try anymore to describe it. Constellation Records is well known for having really cool inserts. So that's the back of it. So it's really, in some places, kind of angular, kind of strange. There's a download card. It's kind of interesting thing here. Right? Interesting groove through the record, though. And here are the labels. So this includes Trans Pop Express, which I've chosen as song 139. When I was making this list, this crazy list of songs, I was wondering how to approach records from the Constellation label, that sort of post-rock sound, because if you're making a list of songs and you move from a more traditional pop rock song into something that's really post-rock, it's kind of a jarring transition, and I'm not sure, at one point I wasn't sure it made sense to include them, but I like these songs enough that I put a few in, so there are a few more post-rock songs, I would say. So that's the band from Montreal at number 139. Number 138, it's a song from a band out of Oakville, Ontario. I'm also wondering if there are other bands from Oakville. I don't know. It seems like there should be. And this is a band that I believe would be well known in other parts of the world. This is the band's fourth record. They're called Saga. This is Worlds Apart from 1981. This may well be their most well-known record. It had two giant singles on here that were played on the radio all the time. One is Wind 'Em Up, and the other is the song I've chosen at number 138 called On the Loose. So they are really nominally a prog rock band, but they have influences from pop and rock and possibly even new wave. So they kind of check a lot of boxes there. And so prog rock, I guess, is a basis, and then sort of meshed with these other kinds of influences. Lyrics, some photography. This is after they moved from Polydor to the Maze record label, and I'll show you that label. Maze Records. I'm not a huge Saga fan. I have a few of their records. Some people are diehard fans, but I think they're quite interesting, and that song always is. It's a really nice song. It kind of moves along quite nicely. It's hard not to like it. So number 137 is a band that began as a single person, Matthew Adam Hart, but he recorded music under the name of the Russian Futurists. Of course, other people were added to the band as he went along. This is the second record. I don't know very much about them after this record. This, if you don't recognize this cover, it's the 2018 repressing. So it came out in 2003. This is the 15th year anniversary pressing with a different cover. I have number 174 of 300, believe it or not. This is the back where you get to see the bum end of the dog. This record's called Let's Get Ready to Crumble. And it's a sort of, sort of a lo-fi indie electronica act. Someone called it twee pop. I've heard it described as bedroom electronica. And my memory is that this record only cost $100 to make. There's some interesting testimonials on the back here. We have someone from the band Stars, the Canadian band Stars, Dan Snaith of Caribou, Jeremy Greenspan of Junior Boys also has something to say about this record. I think it's really a great record. And the song I've chosen for 137 is the title track, Let's Get Ready to Crumble. I will show you the inside here. We have some lyrics. I think this band was formed right around the year 2000. So 3 years later, this is the second record that came out. And it's on a kind of nice piece of colored vinyl. So it's kind of lush, really hyper melodic. I think I also read maybe this is quite recently, someone called it like sugar high, like a sugar high kind of music. I think it's really cool. Maybe a little bit unknown, but a really interesting record. So number 136, a band from Toronto. I said Toronto like a foreigner. 13 Engines, kind of alt alternative rock band, maybe from Toronto, and they were really popular in the Windsor, Detroit area. In fact, they signed to a Detroit record label, this one called Nocturnal, which I find kind of interesting. This is their second record. I think it's from '88. They had an earlier recording under a different band name, but I honestly cannot remember what that was. So I think the name 13 Engines comes from the fact that they were influenced by the fact that they were so popular in Windsor and Detroit. They took a name related to the automotive industry, I guess. Here's the back. And the song I've chosen is the song Beached, which is this totally melodic, infectious song. The chorus on that I find really fantastic. Now there's a wasted opportunity. Here's the band over here. I will show you the label. Kind of a cool, I think this might be the only record I have on Nocturnal Records, I think. I saw this band in concert only once. It was quite enjoyable, a long time ago, but that's a fun record. Number 135. It's kind of like a new wave, synth pop, and even kind of goth band from Edmonton, Alberta called This Sphere. And this EP is called Darkness Shapes Imagination, which came out in 1985, I think, although it's not printed here. There are the tracks on the back. They're from Edmonton, as I mentioned. Really interesting band. The song I'm choosing is Soldier of This Fashion. And you'll notice it says extended. A Soldier of This Fashion has a really excellent bass line. The funny thing for me is that it says extended, but if you look at Discogs, this is the only release associated with them. So if there's a non-extended version, I don't know how you find it. They are often described as being similar to Simple Minds, which may or may not be true. I find them maybe more similar to Canadian band The Spoons, but quite interesting. Give you a little close-up of the band. And I don't know what happened. This band released one thing. I don't know whether the people in the band went on to do other music-related things or not. So here's the label. I don't see a company name here, so maybe this is like self-released or something. I don't actually know. There's only 5 tracks, and the track I've chosen, of course, is Soldier of This Fashion, the extended mix from Edmonton, Alberta. Okay, now let's move on to 134. I am going to show you a compact disc. This is for the Tokyo Police Club, and this is their debut record, Elephant Shell, which came out in 2008. Totally wrong. 2008. They're from Newmarket, Ontario, which is kind of north of Toronto. So let me show you the CD. Well, here's the booklet. It looks the same as the cover. There's just lyrics in here, nothing special about this. Before I forget, I'll tell you the song that I've chosen at number 134, which is a song called Your English is Good, which you may see listed there. It's a really cool, propulsive, kind of indie rock, angular kind of track. There's the compact disc, and there's actually a bonus disc in here of remixes right there, which is cool. So yeah, I don't know if they're still, I think they might be, I don't know if they're making any more music. They might be finished, but they came on the scene, made some noise, and then I guess they just sort of went away. I don't know. I should find out. 134 is Tokyo Police Club. Number 133, I'm going to use another compact disc. It's from a band out of Montreal called Plants and Animals. I do have some Plants and Animals albums on vinyl, but not this one. So Plants and Animals. This album is called Park Avenue, which you'll see on that woman's shirt. And I've chosen the second track called Good Friend. And I said they're from Montreal, indie rock band. This is a very pleasant album. That song in particular, it just takes you on a journey. It's very melodic. There's a chorus in it. It's just a lovely song. It just sort of, I don't know how to describe it. It's really good. It's sort of acoustic at the beginning. It just is it sounds timeless almost. They were nominated for the Polaris Prize, I think, for this record, which came out in 2008. Let me show you the CD, if you're interested. If not, you can fast forward. Can I get it out? Yes. There. I like those signposts there. So, interesting band. I think this might be their best record, though. So, Park Avenue from Plants and Animals. The song was Good Friend, number 132. We have a kind of an interestingly named band. They're called the Rural Alberta Advantage, but they're actually from Toronto, and I can't there's a reason why they're called that, and I can't remember what it is. So in 2017, they released an album called The Wild, which is this record. And the song I'm choosing is a track called White Lights, which leads off side 2. So from Toronto, despite the name, kind of an indie band. And I don't know, despite the fact that I have like 4 records from this band, I don't actually know very much about them, which is a little strange. I'll show you the insert here. If I can get this out. The RAA, the Rural Alberta Advantage, The Wild. Some lyrics here, and it's on this lovely blue vinyl. So side 2 starts with the track White Lights, which is a song that's a bit deceptive because it has an acoustic guitar. You know, if you watch the video, they're up on the stage, you think you're going to get some same old sort of kind of pleasant, sort of folky indie rock song, but it's a little more than that. It has some really excellent drumming. It kind of builds towards the end. I think it's just a wonderful song. And I quite like it. So what else can I say about them? I guess that's it for that band. Also on Paper Bag Records, so it has this little OB here and marketing for other releases by them. So that's number 132, Rural Alberta Advantage. And at number 131, a Canadian band from Ottawa. This is their debut record from 1986. And it's from an album called, sorry, I should tell the band first. It's called 8 Seconds. The album's called Alma Cantar, and the song is called Kiss You When It's Dangerous. Now, 8 Seconds, I think, took their name from the fact that Andy Warhol originally said that everyone would have 15 minutes of fame, and I think later he said it should have been 8 seconds. So they took that to heart. They had a little bit more than 8 seconds of fame. Alma Cantar is some sort of I think it relates to, it's for navigation, I think. Celestial sphere and parallel to the whatever. So I don't know much about that. Weirdly, this is produced by Rupert Hine, which you might see there. You know, some people love him, some people don't. I think he did some interesting work. I guess if you were to name a band that sounded like this band, it might be The Fix, or the other way around. They might be a little bit like The Fix, possibly. The other big single on here was Where's Beulah? And how did Rupert Hine get involved? I think the story goes that he was at some sort of festival in Ottawa and saw this band play and decided he wanted to produce their record, which is kind of amazing for a debut record. And I think, if my memory is correct, they did 2 records and then we've never heard from them again. So the other interesting thing about this record is that, or this band, is that they toured with David Bowie at some point, and I don't know exactly when that was. So this is side 2. I guess that's relating to Alma Cantar, whatever that is. This is upside down by 8 seconds. Band from Ottawa. So again, MGK Boston would have to know this band. I'm sure he does. And anyway, that's it. We have only 130 more songs to go. Hope you're up for that. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.